you were in the military, correct?
Yes.
How many tours have you done there?
Well, I was in the Marines. I joined in 2002, and I was going to school here at the time, actually. I came back and after all my training and got called up for the invasion of Iraq. So that was 2003. I was there for about 7 months. Came home for a couple of months, got sent back overseas again for another, so that was like an 18-month deployment, and then I did 2 more tours after that, so
Okay.
4 altogether.
And so you were a student at CCAD before
Yep.
your time in the military?
Yeah. Grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Moved here in 2000 to go to school here. I was here for 2 years. Decided I didn't want to be, and joined the Marines, all the Marine Reserves. And like I said before, did all the training and then came back to school and got sent over to the sandbox, and then bounced around kind of for about 10 years. Last year was my first year back to school, and back to CCAD in about 12 years, and I used to work over in the 3D illustration lab for Mark Hazelbrink. So I came back to school and got my old job back, and I started helping the guys over there with this giant flea that they were working on. I don't know, I just kind of brought some of the techniques and stuff I learned from working professionally as a sculptor. Showed them some tricks they didn't know, and we busted out the flea in basically a semester. Also had a girl riding on it. Everybody always asks how many hours it took. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Hundreds. I know that the last month that we were working on it, there were maybe about 4 or 5 of us that were the main people working on it, and each of us were putting in 40 or 50 hours a week just on the flea, on top of everything else that we were doing for school.
Yeah, and it turned out pretty well. Like they had it in the last student gallery showing at the end of the year, and then they put it up in a crane for a while.
Then we moved it to the 3rd floor, and then we just had to move it to a classroom. We don't know where the flea is going to end up.
Yeah.
We don't know where its home is going to be. They wouldn't let us get a table for it at the student art sale.
Oh, motherfuckers. That would have been great. This year you guys are working on another similar project, right?
Yes. This project is called Project Mantipede. It is a giant centipede that will in total be about 20 odd feet long, and it's fighting a giant praying mantis. We're calling it Project Mantipede. Each of the creatures is going to be about 8 feet off the ground. The centipede, I think, is going to be about 20 feet long altogether. It's going to have like 40 odd legs, which we've sculpted, and we've been producing those things. That'll make more sense when we show it to you later. But yeah, it's just a kind of a production process right now. The reason we're doing the 2 bugs fighting is because usually these projects from the 3D lab, the group projects and things, kind of tend to be just static pieces, like this bear behind me, just kind of standing there. So we wanted to have something with some movement and something you could walk around. So that's the basic position that we're going for. These are the sketches we started with. We've got all of our reference printed on the wall over there. Okay, this is the mold for the back plates. It gets covered in latex. Once this dries, we'll fill it with a soft polyurethane foam so that it's bendable. We can fold it and fit it to the forms. This right here is one of the sockets where the legs are going to fit into. I can show you where that's going to fit on there later as well. This is about ready to be molded. It's going to consist of about, I think, 20 or so of these back plates here. See, foam, flexible. If you peel these away, you can see what's at the body of the centipede, which is this system of ribs we came up with to kind of fit everything together. It's going to be broken into 3 sections so we can actually move this thing. These are the legs. This is a mold for the leg here. So what we do with that, we slush cast this thing. We put it together and we fill it up with latex, and then hang it from this thing for about 20 minutes. And what that does, it lets the moisture from the latex soak into the concrete. So you'll have about, I don't know, a good 16th inch thick wall. You dump it out, let it drain and dry, and you have a nice even coat. We fill that with foam, so you have flexible legs. We put hard foam in the tips so they don't bend over once they're on the ground. We still have to sculpt the head and everything for this thing and make stomach sections, but pretty far along. I don't know where the giant bug kick came in, but there's been a giant spider made at this school, and a giant scorpion, and a giant flea. That's just in the last decade that I know of. But yeah, I don't know with the big bug thing. Bugs are fun to make. We wanted to make something a little more dynamic this time that wasn't just sitting there, so that's why the animals are going to be fighting with each other. Should be done by the end of the school year. Well, it has to be.
Yeah. Last year I kind of helped document your photo project that you were working on, where you were taking portraits of veterans and trinkets and stuff they brought home from overseas. So you want to talk a little about that?
Okay, yeah, I started a project where, mostly with guys I know. I'd like to expand it, but the idea was that everybody's kind of got something, that they're like a helmet, or maybe some people have a knife or a sword or a gun or something that one of their granddads brought back from overseas, or like kind of an heirloom, and nobody really knows the story that's exactly attached to those things. So my idea was to take pictures of veterans that I knew from Iraq and something that they brought home from the war with them, and then just get them to put down in their own words what it is they brought home, what motivated them to do it. So far we've got like a helmet with a bullet hole in it, chunk of shrapnel from a tank that was blown up, things like that.
So what are your plans for after CCAD?
That is a good question. I don't know, I'm kind of taking it slow. I don't really know what I'm going to do when I get out of school. I think all the time. Since high school I'd have figured it out, but I don't really know exactly.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with a job that allows me to live comfortably.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
I always feel like an asshole when people ask me what I want to do after school. Because it's like, oh, I want to make videos for the internet. And then people are like, oh, how? And it's like, oh, through YouTube and stuff, because with the partnership thing and everything, and like people can make decent money doing that, like Philip DeFranco, and then Bruce Cheap does all that shit. And so I always like have to go in this in-depth explanation of what I want to do.
You know, when people ask me like, what's your dream job? What I really want to say is blacksmith in the 18th century.
I know, right?
Because it's practical. Just making things all day.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like making things with my hands.
Yeah.
Making props, fake swords and stuff. That's always fun. It's just kind of the same thing. It is a kid, but they look way cooler now.
Yeah. And you have any advice for anyone who would be thinking about joining the military or thinking about doing any of that? Even if it's like, don't
really think about. No, I would never tell anybody not to do it.
Yeah.
I did it. I don't regret that I did it. I would say if you were the kid, and I didn't join for this, it was just something I observed, but I noticed a lot of kids, the guys that would come in, it's like they seemed like they were picked on maybe or something in high school. And joining the military isn't really going to make a man out of you. It's going to throw you back in with those same dickhead jocks that we were in school with before. Now the teacher's not there to call them off. I don't know. As far as don't let your recruiters lie to you. They're going to lie to you anyway. Make sure you get your job signed as a contract so you're not But end up as a refrigerator mechanic or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. The wars are winding down.
Mhm.
So anybody that hasn't joined yet is probably
That's a
not
lot.
going to be going over there for a while. Yeah. That'll be weird.
Mhm. But the world's supposed to end like in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's
Right.
touche. Well, maybe there'll be lots of warring.